What you got yourself doing here? All right, so starting a new project. I'm going to go 15 by 23 for this will be something I'll have to build on site just to get things ready. We're going to go 4 high and then so that's the 15. And if I can remember, oh. Right. So what we want is a scaffolding platform for running things on. When we build this out for reals in survival, it's going to be a bit different. It will be unfinished blocks, and I'll be putting windmills on the corners. And I'll have to build this out from scratch, but the end result will be pretty much the same. It's about here. Alright, but we're going to get the scaffolding here anyway, just to make it fit how it's going to feel when we build it in the game. So then we're going to want stairs. What we don't want to do. Right, and we'll have to do that somehow, maybe. Maybe like that, but we'll want stairs going up to this thing so that we can walk up it. And of course, some sort of setup for that. I guess we need a block there. If that works, that's probably cheaper than a grating anyway. Right. So then we're going to build at the center point. We're going to run a chunk down. And then I have to flip over and look at my plans. So all right, about halfway in, we're going to put a projector on the block and a battery and 2 cargo containers. So out there, and we want it to face upwards. So that's left and right. So that would be facing forward like that. But yeah, that's what we want. We want our projector to be there, and then we want our battery facing up. If I can get it to face up, there we go. And then we want our cargo and from here we want to come out on conveyors. We want to use, we don't need, we need these to be walkable. No, I don't think we do. Not do that way. We'd like those to be that. Right. So then we can stash where is it? Well, two there. And we can put you there. Right, and that will be, there will be room in there later for upgrading these guys. But that feels about correct, although we're going to put a survival kit uh, up front here. Which we'll be able to build based on other stuff. So this is really what we build for phase 1. However, we do need to worry about how this is going to be connected and blueprinted. So it really needs to be blueprinted without the scaffolding platform. So I need to think of a way to connect it, and maybe or maybe I just need to remember to cut the scaffolding platform off, although blueprint-wise, it's not ready. So this will be our base, so to speak. And if we blueprint it, if I recall, we don't need to blueprint this one though. That's the thing. This is like build this out by hand, and then worry about using the escape pod, survival pod stuff. Oh, of course, I never went back to the game. Sorry, silly of me. I never went back to the game stuff. This is what we need to build out by hand when we land. And then we begin to work on the next stuff. And this, except that this can't be there because we're going to lay a conveyor down this center spine. We'll start with reinforced T-junction. I'd love to get the open side on the top, but I don't think you can change that. So what we end up with is we need, okay, or we can do that. We can always do that. We only really need one cargo container, and we only really have room for one cargo container, so we go with this conveyor junction and 2. And then we put our first stab at these guys here instead. Right. And what I wanted was the survival kit to be here. I'm facing survival kit goes there but faces up. Like this, so that it plugs into it can't face up, but we want it to plug into the conveyor system, so when we add our hydrogen setup, we fill hydrogen and oxygen up. And then we come off there with our conveyors. Yeah, the spine should just be all junctions, right? Right. That connects everything to cargo. Including that. So once we have that basic T, we end up in this position, and we want to then start looking at, okay, there's our conveyor spine and more batteries. At this point we should have iron, probably an external. This is our like initial base. If we go battery, no, we want the batteries on the same level as the battery. So our industrial level is going to end up being up here. Not making a lot of sense right now, even though it made sense when I planned it. Because we're going to grind off that guy eventually. This thing is going to be a survival brick all the way along, I think. And so we end up with multiple batteries, and we end up with more cargo, which actually comes off the backside here. We'll have cobalt by then. Grids. And there's our initial cargo array, which we will eventually set a large cargo container down on. Although at this level, maybe we do want it to be 9. But okay. We end up here, and this is our industrial level. And go from here to industrial refinery, industrial assembler. But we put don't need these conveyor junctions down there, but I'm just going to keep them anyway. So we end up with a cross here. And our assembler needs space for its stuff. and to be accessible at this level. We need to be able to put the mods in there, which will come later. Then, yeah, this guy needs still to be down though. Is there any other industrial refineries? I think this is still the best option. We end up here. That doesn't make sense because of the way it's built. Maybe we don't go with the industrial refinery, maybe we go with the regular refinery. Yeah, that is the answer. That she goes in right here at the lower level to keep him aligned. At this point, our base is looking pretty basey. Now we're going to pull O2 off here. Ooh, the fieldwork lab O2 seems kind of cool. Oh, I don't seem to have that DLC. I thought I had that DLC. Huh. Interesting. Well, I'll be getting that DLC and maybe using it in this build, but we need our oxygen tanks. Again with the labs. Alright, I'm gonna go through here. More O2 tanks and then hydro tanks. But unfortunately we're going to go with the small ones. Maybe that's not unfortunate. Nice big blow up spot there. Of course, now we're gonna need a stairway up. But the idea is that at this point we are still in kind of base mode. But we probably want to be mobile at this point, so we're going to have to build a rover or something before we even hit this point. We're going to need a lot of equipment. Or maybe we use the pod to get us going. So at this point we have everything we need for oxygen and hydrogen production and our major productions. We start putting and this is a walkway, so we will need stairs up to get to our next level, which may be our living quarters and whatnot. We don't need that yet. Now the main idea was that I would put this on the projector after having built the rest of it. I mean, I could just build a spike up and the line out and put the projector on it, and then that would be everything else. But as I look at this, it seems rather unfeasible. I feel like I should just go into creative and wing it. That's what I'm better at anyway. The whole planning things out in creative, I mean, I should just go to survival and wing it. And see what I build. I mean, this is good for kind of the idea of planning, but I'm not going to need all this stuff until I'm ready to detach this thing from the ground and fly away. When I do that, I'm going to want to cut it off like here and there. Fly it out like that. And we do not need all of these. We want, oops, we do want one, we do not need the doubles. We want 1 and 1. Planning purposes here. That's the small hydrogen tank. Right. That will just give us our, oxygen and hydrogen we need to live. So, right, I think it's a better idea to roll out and just do this in survival. The phased idea was cool, but I'm just not seeing it right now, if that makes any sense. I mean, in the end, what we want to end up with is, I guess we could just look at how we put the thrusters on this thing. Probably be large flats. And then some small maneuvering thrusters. Whoops. Yeah. I like the D shapes, but actually they probably fit better in there. like that. So we'd end up with something along these lines. Like I said, this is going to be kind of a block. These things take so much stuff, 400 motors. We need to think about how we're going to wrap armor around it too. And of course we need to go up to the second level and acquire a cockpit area and all of that. But this thing would be flyable almost as is. Of course we do want more thrust and not the maybe some of those for rear thrust. Really just trying to go right in, right? Come in through the back. Thing off, and we have our landing zone. I'm not really considering how many I'm going to need either. Pretty sure you can get away with that. That doesn't need to be open. If I go 6 and 2. Four. No mounts whatsoever. We got to come out. Here's our side to side. That ought to hold us up, right? Two of these big ones. Not too much storage. Not too little storage either for now. We could eventually stick big ones out here too. Maybe like that. archipelago thing. And armor at some point, obviously, and make it airtight-ish. Does the industrial area even need to be airtight? Or for serious funsies, we could toss all these thrusters. I could maybe remember how to get symmetry turned on. Let's see here. Well, first of all, the funsies part is getting a programmable block in. Doesn't make a lot of sense to have it in the industrial area, but I don't really have anywhere else to put it right now. Put a second, no, we don't need a second one. I mean, I might want a second one for storage management, but for now, we can throw content. That's not it. Where's... Hello? It's just custom data. That's not my script. It's a programmable block. Oh, you know what? I don't have... Right. I don't have scripts turned on in here, which requires I go out. Alright, that puts me back with enabling in-game scripts, which is important for what I'm planning to do. Yay. Vector Thrust OS. Okay. So with Vector Thrust OS on, I'm going to make this into a vector ship. which means we need advanced rotors. We don't need pyrotech jump drives. We need the advanced rotor, and we don't need hinges, I don't think. Just advanced rotors. So let's cut all this out. Anybody in chat tell me how to get my splitting on so I don't have to go search it up. Okay, N and M, right. I think that's just right there is exactly what I want. All right. Pull those off. Right, we do want like 4 of these on here though. Rotors. We're gonna still need are we gonna need those? I don't know if we'll need side to side thrust or not. It doesn't hurt though. I have a side to side thruster. At least one. You. Why didn't you go? Isn't working even. Right, that ought to be fun. I think I'm going to need some sort of side turning capability, although I don't know if vector thrust will just handle it with these guys or not. You know what? There's only one way to find out. Throw an industrial cockpit on this thing. see if she stands up. What I do want to do is get some landing gear. And it's got to definitely be out of the way of the spinnies here. Yes, plans have gone really far off what I started to plan to do here, because I was just not feeling the build, and if I'm not feeling the build, I'm not going to build it, because I can't build it. Actually, that'll spin just fine. What if we just throw kind of a cage around it? No, that'll block. Gonna get hurt by the other thing. And we could put our rotor in the back here. I need more. Probably going to fail horribly. Not actually had a huge amount of luck with large grid vector thrust ships. Since we're really going off the rails here, we're just going to lose all of our industrial capabilities and see if we can get it flying. Okay, it's off the grid there, so let's go out here. Get some sort of landing gear down, so when it falls out of the sky, it's not quite so bad. It's a ship. Right. Gotta remember how to do this. Gotta remember how to do this. Run it with an argument. Vector. Right, I'm just digging into VectorOS here real quick to remember how to do it. I gotta give it a... There it is. Workshop. Right, I gotta figure out I gotta run this command with an argument that basically tells it to detect there we go. Right. Trying to open the guide. Some sort of detect command here. Like redetect. I guess I can just rerun it. Or maybe it's broken. Okay, what happened? Oh. Yeah, well, it appears to have actually gotten these guys. So let's find out what happens. Alright, okay, that just broke is what happened there. It does go up and down, but we have no turning. I also think we're probably not... Yeah, we can spin all the way around. Okay, cool. So what we still need is... Yeah, okay, that was not happy with that. We'll put this on here again, and I'm just going to stick one thruster on it. Go with a large there, right. Yeah. Right, that's cool and all. You know, it'd be even cooler would be some gyros. One of the main advantages of Vector Thrust OS or VectorOS is you can get away with fewer thrusters, at least to get airborne. One of the disadvantages is learning how to fly it properly, although I have been playing with it for some time now. Of course, there's some speed issues as well, but the script is really, really pretty awesome. Just too bad that I couldn't do what I was originally planning to do when I came in here, because I just didn't feel the build. Of course, this does feel much more like flying a ship, in my opinion, instead of the hovery stuff. There, now we're landed again. So yeah, I do still want to run a survival series where instead of building a base, I build the beginnings of a ship, and as soon as I can get it off the ground, then I'm just mobile and I don't have to leave a base or take down a whole bunch of stuff to bring with me. It's just all already there, and I just cut it off the windmills and fly away. I've done this with a rover before, but I've never done it, or at least done it well, with a regular, with a atmospheric ship. But then the idea was to phase the build in such a way that it would become a spaceship. If I get out of here and I throw some hydro tanks, or more hydrogen tanks, a couple of big ones here, just for the fun of playing with this stuff. Not get some hydrogen on here. Of course, we need to, I guess, it doesn't, everything is actually plugged in. The weird thing will be getting the hydrogen thrusters I'm a little worried that's going to be too close. Okay, so pop you. You. We lose stuff since we're not really properly because they're secondary things. That makes sense. Yeah, they're subgrids. Yeah. Come on here. Now I'm just totally playing around. Let's throw, yeah. Couple of hydrogen tanks on there. They're half full. That ought to be fine. Right, and we need to come out further. Question is, how do we get our thrusters? Like, okay. That's going to be weird looking, but it will work. Well, I don't know if we're tall enough. I hope we are. Find out. Will you spin and hit anything? Looks like no. So if we go out there, you go on there. Like we should be able to just go straight to space, right? I don't think there's going to be room for this one on here, but let's give it a shot anyway. Maybe it won't get damaged by its friends. Who knows? We look at block. We're going to recompile it. Fly tags, right? That's what it is. Right, so that tags all the rotors and all of the thrusters. I'm glad I saw that. And then we're going to recompile again. And if we unlatch, we should be able to, yeah. So that's our side to side. What do we got? We got 58. And we make it to space on 59% hydrogen. But this will work in space just as well as it works. Luckily, those are far enough away that they're not actually going to We're not actually going to damage each other, which is pure luck. I really didn't plan for that. But yeah, I really liked Vector Thrust. The Vector OS and the Vector Thrust ships. They're all pretty awesome. Hey, Mantis Max, hello. And Rishon Bullet, I'm noticing. Oh, it's that dude. What's up, bro? I'm doing good. Just messing around with Vector. Just noticed that people were talking in chat, so hello. Hopefully you're still here. There is a bit of a lag because I've got it on because I'm streaming at 1440. I can't run the ultra low latency, so got about a minute lag on this thing. Anyway, yeah, I was in here to build a phased ship, but just loving decided instead just to mess around with Vector for a bit, and then probably go in and try to do a survival where the base is built as a ship, and I'm gonna probably do it as a Vector ship from the get-go, because you need fewer thrusters to get off the ground. Although they don't tend to carry as much because you don't have a whole bunch of down thrusts, so you end up with some really interesting stuff. You end up with some interesting problems as far as carrying things goes. And if you haven't played with VectorOS before, I will show you a real quick, if you guys want, I'll show you a real quick build that I've done multiple times. It's great for just a quick get around ship. It literally takes 3 small thrusters. In fact, so yes, we're in space. As far as the color HUD goes, this is just a creative with no mods in it right now, just DLC. Okay, we still got a little bit of planetary gravity to get out, but as you can see, it works in space just fine. But for a little hopper, almost has a dune vibe. What are you guys all up to? Well, like I said, Max, I'll show you a very quick, easy to do build. Low, requires almost nothing, and is a great little hopper to get around. I end up using it in the scrapyard stuff that I've been doing. Of course, who knows what's going to happen here? I may just crash this thing on momentum alone. I mean, I've got no stuff. So the script is called VectorOS. It will require scripts to be on, but you can get playing with it yourself almost immediately. What have you been up to, dude? Haven't seen you in a while since we played on that one scrapyard thing. How's your health? The cool thing about the vector thrust really is that the script just does it for you. It's a really awesome script. But there's some key things. You've got to have your stuff centered, or you end up with all kinds of weird problems. So center of mass across both things. Get back down to our little ice lake here. Yeah, this is actually a pretty decent setup, and we're not using that much hydro. In fact, we've increased the amount of hydro we've got in the tanks. Oh, somebody's flipping out. You really do have to be careful. So, yeah. Right. Well, let's build ourselves let's build ourselves. Okay, I could have kept that rotor. Could have kept that rotor in there. We don't need any of this stuff. I could have kept the battery, I guess. But, alright. So we want a cargo box in the medium. We want thrust. We want rotor. Thrust. In the small size. I'll go with this sci-fi. I like them. Cockpits. But we want the open plan cockpit. This control seat, I think, is this guy. There is a specific one. Not this guy. It's got a flight seat. That's the one. Yeah, the Vector, I mean, that thing was just that thing just is very flat. Was very fragile. It was literally just a spine of conveyors with some cargo containers and other junk on it. And this next thing is as fragile. Let's see. We got our trusses, we got our rotors, we got our thrusters, we got our flight seat. We need the programmable block, but the regular one. I'm not seeing. Maybe this. Right, well, we need a small landing gear, which, damn, it's been so long. Not B. B? No. What is the sizing? Oh, press number again to get the small one. Alright, so you literally just slap down one of these, you throw your container on it, whatever you want. You do need a couple of blocks though. You need this block here, okay? Or you can delete everything. That's another option. Very popular option. Right, so we throw that guy there. Spelling. Right. There is a flight seat for small, I swear. Okay, so obviously I need a different flight seat. Is it just a control station? There was one that was available for small grid. Maybe it's actually in cockpits. Nope. It would work with a cockpit. I just like the vibe. There we go. That's the one I like. That's my friend. Right, and we don't need that. You just literally slap this on the front like that. And then you need your gyro and your programmable block on the back here. Speaking of gyros, and then, right, I did this, yep, okay, cool. Our truss blocks, lose that gyro because that needs to go elsewhere. But I want it to face up, yep. And then our programmable block goes here, or usually I end up putting it up under here, but on here because I can, right, there's one more, I need one more out. And if I can remember how I did it, there was a way that I did it where it's visible, but this will work for demonstration purposes for sure. That's not visible. Two more, and then this, and then our programmable block goes right here. Yeah, because then you can kind of see it from your cockpit. So then we just put 3 rotors down. And one will work, one thruster will work on these guys if you want to. But you won't be able to carry anything, like you won't be able to put anything in the medium box or anything. So what I usually do is throw 3 for the side thrusters and leave the 1 for steering. And that's it, except for the battery, which I forgot. So, right, we need a battery down here, and I usually actually start with a medium battery. Since we're just totally playing, I might as well throw a Prototech battery in here. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. So we get our programmable block. Throw our vector thrust script in there. Wait for it to load. Come on. Yes, okay, do it. Apply tags is the key here, so that it knows. And now if we unpark, we have a little hopper, which I usually paint gold. We're experiencing some sort of issue though, I'm not sure what it is. Is somebody not... So yeah, these things are... I can see sparks on these things for some reason, and I'm not sure why. I leave something disconnected. So usually I start at a connector and then a battery on top of the connector, and then the medium cargo, which then becomes really not too accessible. But yeah, these things operate in any orientation, and you can get really crazy with them. And you can even And there's way more to VectorOS than just slapping it on the script and going. But I haven't really played much with that. But you can set all kinds of variables and things, and you can create long ships with banks of thrusters at different points, large thrusters. You know, you can get large thrusters on here. And then you're really rocking. Well, let's make those face the same way, just for fun. Get a better setup there. Yeah. Whoops. I think I need to recompile it. When you change things, you should recompile it. Oh, and reapply tags. Important. It's not great for mining because can't show you my keyboard, but it's got, unlike a traditional ship, traditional space engineer ship, getting right up to a thing is a pain. Plus you've got to keep your, see how it kind of, whenever I let go of the forward key, it kind of does this weird jog thing. So it would be real unprecise for mining. It's really more of, in the case of this design anyway, it's really more of an explorer, scout, hopper kind of thing. I cannot, I think I tried mining with it before, but I didn't really play too deeply, so maybe if we had kind of opposites, I wonder what it would do. Actually, I haven't played with this, but let's give it a shot. What if I gave it opposite angle thrust? Why we're like, if I said here's two that go in the other direction to kind of counterbalance that. And for that matter, we'll throw two there as well. I don't know how many. I don't know how many smalls actually equal a large. Maybe I should have just used a large, but we're here now. So we've changed it again, so we want to apply tags. Okay, that's got some weirdness to it as well, but we are going in the right direction. It still has this weird dip. But it doesn't seem to be using the extra thrusters at all. So, are we experiencing power issues? Yes, we're experiencing power issues. Another battery, perhaps. My batteries. We'll just throw one in right there and one right there, and then we'll want some sort of landing. Yeah, we're not using the power anymore, but I still am not seeing anything come out of the opposites. It's still just using... So that apparently doesn't really do anything. But it is certainly... The rotors are a bit unhappy. You can see maybe we want to go with the bigger rotors, right? Maybe what if we like produce massive torque? They're still unhappy. Those rotors are very, very unhappy. Now the more weight on this thing from the opposite thrusters is kind of reducing that jog. Well, there you have it. Random vector thrust stuff. I'm not seeing for sure. I'm not seeing those thrusters fire at all. But maybe if we had a double instead. Maybe we had a double, we actually turned this into kind of a long ship. Like I had the 4 on the last one. I know this thing has thrust. Well, we don't need the seat anymore, so I'll trust T. X. But only in large, right? Or maybe it's just pointed wrong. Nope, not available for smalls. Okay, so we just go with we need to be longish though. And maybe we'd want, for a real ship like this, we'd want the big. Can't really do it at that angle. It's going to cause problems. You don't need the side-by-side one. Because you can always turn, it just makes things easier. But it has to be way out there, because otherwise you're... Yeah, I tried those counter engines. I had them going opposite, and they just didn't change anything. I'm wondering if having more of them makes it better, like this. Because now it's got a flatter trajectory, maybe, or something. Whereas now we've got a serious gyro issue. Maybe that'll help. Yeah, actually that stabilized it quite a bit. Between the weight and so yeah, between the weight and the extra thrusters, you could probably do this, although I'm still wondering, you need like oh, I left some thrusters on here. Probably fixes a little bit of something. Yeah, the counter thrusters never fired, but between the weight and the and having 4 seems to be better. But then if these guys have things in front of them. Right, how do we route things, and how do we avoid burning our own cage? And then where do we put the mining heads? But this is definitely way better for stability. It almost doesn't jog when I let go. I think maybe large ones. So if we start from scratch, start with a platform this time. Right. So we're gonna need like side channels. Alright, I really should add some mods to this thing. Off. Right. So with our line of cargo, oh, vertical miner might work. But I'm actually interested in the whole channel idea as well. Go with cargo here. Unfortunate. No, we go with a connector conveyor. Oh, that's the wrong one. No, that is the converter, right? Right. So then we can go out forward and back on cargo. Stick with the medium cargos. maybe 4 of them. Feels pretty good for a miner, right? So what if we just straight up put oh, what's the problem here? Okay, I have a problem though. I have not left myself room. That's unfortunate. Then again, there'll be room like this. Yeah, there'll be room there. Cool. We're gonna need more than 2, obviously. That's not going to be enough room. So we got to go out more. Here we go. Make those the same. Or maybe we just use really long conveyors. Leave it all skeletal. Yeah, I don't even know what I'm at on Space Engineers at this point, but as far as hours go, but it took me a while to find it as well. Okay, that ought to be enough blockage here to get us out to back here. Oh, not that though. I'm using the bigger using the bigger ones. Oh, you know what? What if I did that? Because it looks like it. No, it won't quite get there. But I bet 4 larges is enough for a miner. Maybe. Right. So what if we just stick our mining heads way out front? Let's look at cockpits. I'm off the cockpit with all conveyors. Now, of course, it's probably be better done if we go out to here. Looking for mining heads. Do still need batteries and side thrust. If we come out maybe here and we go, well, really far. I wonder if that'll burn those off or not. Well, if I put some batteries on this thing, we can find out. I'm going to use these Prototech batteries again because they're really cool. We do need some weight back here to balance out the mining heads. Might be helpful to have gyros again. It'd be helpful to have our programmable block. I pitch it somewhere. Go. Am I missing? I'm missing side to side, but okay, is that, maybe we go one more. The right height, okay. I can't remember what they're called. Huh. Drills. In case you were wondering, they're called drills. So do we burn the drills off? What if we put like 8 drills on this thing? I'm just going to start with 4 because I'm lazy. But I bet that's not far enough and we burn our drills off. But it's fine, because that will be a learning experience. programmable block. I don't know which connector is my connector. This one. You know, with these guys out front, going backwards doesn't really ever hit it. Because they don't really actually, even going fully backwards, it's not quite level. We probably get more. Now, I had mentioned that there's a weight problem, and we'll probably run into that pretty quickly. You know, it might be handy to have some various, I don't know, other things on here as well, obviously, but this is just testing. Yeah, we would definitely need more drills for better to make the room. But unlike, what are we doing on, oh, we're not, are we actually even connected? I thought we were connected. I'm not showing any, I should be getting stone. Yeah, I am getting stone, okay. It's in the cockpit, it's in the drills, it's not going to the cargo containers for some reason. Probably because the cockpit's not technically connected, or we're just out of space. Well, if I move these guys down one or two, they'd probably, for the shape of this thing anyway, they'd probably just work. But we're not loading our containers, it appears. But we are drilling. So that's cool. Obviously we could throw even more on, we could wrap it in armor and protectors of some sort. Okay, we are hitting a little bit of a weight issue already. Yeah, well, as the weight going up is what we really wanted to see, because like I had said before, these things are, because you need fewer thrusters to actually accomplish your goals, you end up in this weird position. Yeah, the drills are connected to the industrial cockpit, which should be connected to cargo, but apparently not. But there we go. We have whoa. We have some kind of proof that this would work for that. I would think we would want to throw some extra somebody's kind of flipping out here. I'm not sure what the deal is. It's probably about the weight balance. I'm guessing I've got a whole lot of weight on the front and everybody's freaking out because it's not connected to cargo, so it's just all that weight's in the drill. You can even feel it when you hold space to lift up. It kind of plus, you know, our side to side when we get turned. Yeah. We need to get those guys connected. I thought that would work, but apparently, oh no, the industrial cockpit doesn't have a full-size connector on the back. That's the deal. You're right. We go back here. Then we end up distributing the weight better. I bet. Yeah, now we're in that, so if we disconnect, we're in a little bit better of a weight position. But the thing about the vector thrust is that you have to think hard about balance and center of gravity, because these guys really need to be aligned around the center of gravity. But right, that was a fun experiment. But I really build best in survival mode and for what I need right then. So, right, we're not burning our drills. What we really need is some, I wonder if we could add some just straight up down thrust, or whether that would confuse these strips. Like I said, if I move these maybe 2 blocks down to the central line right here, they would probably open up the right side hole. Or if I got rid of 2 of them, and move the other two maybe about there. Oh, still want to go in this line. Somewhere along here is the spot where I put the drill. Drill. So just two might actually bring out enough space on these things. What I can do is put some off here, or I could do that too. Right. Let's see how far we actually need to come out. Of course, it's not actually using that, so that's funny. What we probably need is a central set. I don't know if they'll damage each other or not. You're not correct. There we go. they're definitely damaging each other. Maybe not terribly, but a little bit. And wow, we're already overpowered. Farther away than I thought. No, we definitely need. Well, maybe they would work happily from side by side, but. We're definitely not wide enough on the drilling. That's a pretty good weight, though. Now, if we can find our connector. We'd need more batteries, which would increase weight, and then we'll need more thrusters. Oh, or we can do that. Yep, these things are not. Right. Alright. We just lost all our thrusters. Definitely want to build a cage around them, is all I'm saying. But we did end up with, well, full. We were full. We were 100% full all the way through. So, we were actually probably full before. But yes, you can make a vector thrust mining ship if you're careful about weight and maybe putting a cage around things so that you don't blow your thrusters up when you come in for a landing. Now, and now that was fun. I think I'm probably just gonna call it because I'm not gonna build that thing. I'll build the phased ship, basically live in survival mode. Maybe starting on Sunday. I plan on streaming Space Engineers either Saturday or Sunday every week, and random times when I feel like it throughout. My main YouTube channel is a bunch of farming simulator series, which I'm currently in Riverbend Springs doing farming simulator stuff. But I'm adding Space Engineers and possibly Star Citizen eventually, although I need to get a new GPU before I can stream Star Citizen, because Space Engineers is already pushing it. The rest of my machine is awesome, and I don't need to worry about that. 128 gigs of RAM, 9550X Ryzen CPU, good motherboard, lots of storage. Just the GPU is only a 2080 Super, so I need to get that up to the 4 or 5 levels so that it can handle, you know, the streaming window and OBS and whatever reference materials I want to have up at the same time as playing the game. I can just play the game as it is for Star Citizen. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to take off, and I'll catch you next time, probably Saturday, although I might jump in later today or tomorrow or whatever, so do keep an eye. But for sure Saturday or Sunday.